One of the most important archaeological finds excavated from the Tianhui Laoguanshan Han tombs in 2012 and 2013 was a manuscript on horse medicine, dated around the 3rd century BCE. It was given the title Liaoma Book of Treating Horses by a team led by Professor Liu Changhua at the Academy of Chinese Medical Sciences in Beijing. Prior to the discovery of this highly specialized veterinary text, only a handful of horse remedies from the Qing and Han periods had been found, and a 6th century CE agricultural treatise, Essential Techniques for the Common People, was generally regarded as the earliest surviving source of veterinary material, including various medical treatments for horses. In this presentation, I will first give a brief account of the domestication of horses and their importation to China. I will then talk about the manuscript, including the dating, provenance, and authorship. I will then delve into the content of the Book of Treating Horses, elucidating the names of ailments, symptoms, etiology of diseases, and treatment methods. Lastly, I will explore the various challenges encountered in deciphering and translating this text. Horses are one of the most important domesticated animals in the history of civilizations. Most scholars believe that they were first domesticated on the Eurasian steppes. In recent years, scientists have been able to prove that the domestication of horses originated in and spread from the western Eurasian steppes north of the Black and Caspian Seas, specifically an area known as the Lower Volga-Don region. Horses played an important role in early Chinese civilization, serving a variety of functions such as food, transportation, communications, warfare, gift exchange, and rituals. The first clear evidence of their presence in China is the horse and chariot burials of the late Shang period at the Yinxu site. Their sudden appearance at this and other Shang period sites can be explained convincingly by tracing the roots of Bronze Age cross-cultural contacts in the Eurasian steppes. By the mid-late Western Zhou period, chariot and horse burials had become integral to institutionalized ritual practice. There is no clear evidence to suggest that horses were ridden in China until shortly before 300 BCE, when King Owing of Zhao state compelled his subjects to take up riding as a matter of military necessity. The development of horsemanship in the Warring States period, namely the adoption of horseback riding and the use of cavalry, further strengthened the relationship between remote regions and the Central Plains, and eventually encouraged the establishment of the Qing-Han Empire, which was based on horse-drawn cart transportation, horseback communication, and a massive mounted army. However, over-reliance on horses imported from the Normans became a problem, particularly during wartime. Therefore, the early Han emperors began to breed horses within China. And by the time of the Emperor Wu of Han, mass breeding of horses was well underway. According to Liu Changhua's team, 951 bamboo slips in total were discovered at the bottom chamber of Tomb M3 at Laoguanshan near Chengdu in Sichuan province. 6 medical manuscripts were excavated from the north compartment and 2 further manuscripts from the south compartment. One of the 2 manuscripts from the south compartment is the Book of Treating Horses. This manuscript is made up of 172 bamboo slips, of which 146 have been damaged, leaving just 26 intact. Despite the terrible condition of much of the manuscript, Approximately 2,274 characters can be identified, with a further 536 unreadable. Owing to the high number of damaged slips and illegible characters, it is very hard to understand the content of the Book of Treating Horses, and a certain amount of guesswork is inevitable. M3 is a male and female co-burial tomb. According to Xie Tao, who led this Tianhui Laoguanshan archaeological excavation project, the female occupant died before reaching adulthood. Thus, the medical manuscripts interred at the bottom chamber of tomb M3, including the Book of Treating Horses, would have belonged to the male occupant. Xie Tao argues that the M3 male occupant was a descendant of the Jing clan of Chu state, who had immigrated to Shu and was engaged in medical-related affairs. The team also established that these medical manuscripts were not produced as mortuary objects at the time of the funeral, but had been used by the male occupant during his lifetime. By examining the handwriting style, they concluded that the Book of Treating Horses is the earliest text among the excavated manuscripts at M3. This is because it contains an older script style known as seal script, which was the standard script during the Qing dynasty. Therefore, the text would have been brought from Chu state, where the male occupant was originally from, to Shu, to where he had emigrated and was eventually buried. Like all the medical manuscripts excavated from Laoguanshan, as well as those from other Han tombs, no authorship has been attributed to the Book of Treating Horses. While there's a lively debate about whether or not the medical texts excavated from the north compartment of M3 were part of the Bianque school corpus transmitted by Chun Yuyi of Qi state and his students, a small detail is worth noting here which could be significant. According to Sima Qian's records of the Grand Historian, one of Chun Yuyi's students, Feng Xing, was an official who looked after granaries and horses for the king of Sichuan. While it may have been a coincidence that Feng Xing, who went to study medicine with Chun Yuyi, was also looking after horses, an overlapping of knowledge and practice between the treatment of people and horses is implied. The fact that the Book of Treating Horses was found among other medical manuscripts in M3 suggests that the male tomb occupant was a physician able to treat both people and horses, or at the very least, a person who possessed such medical knowledge. The term qi knife was mentioned in this manuscript as an implement for piercing. This suggests that the text could have originally been written in the northeast Qi state and at some point was transported to the southern Chu state before being taken to the southwest Shu region. Owing to the severe damage suffered by many of its bamboo slips, only 29 conditions grouped under 11 categories of ailments can be confidently identified in the Book of Treating Horses, including horse with stiffness, crooked teeth, twisted intestines, lameness, pain related to the organs, difficulty walking, itchiness, and eye disease. The descriptions of these 11 categories of ailments seem to follow a certain order, introducing the name or names of the ailments under the main category, description of symptoms, description of etiologies, treatment methods. For example, this is how horse with stiffness at the upper part of the body begins. 3 items are related to horse with stiffness at the upper part of the body, stiffness related to muscle pain at the spine, to blood, and to the excessive use of force. It then describes the various symptoms of these three ailments. Stiffness at the upper part of the body related to muscle pain at the spine is when an illness begins below the shoulders. The horse is unable to shake its head or move its tail. Its neck is bent and its head is held low, but it is unable to reach the ground with its mouth. This is followed by descriptions of their etiologies. When a horse is harnessed to a heavily loaded carriage, whose front is lower than its back, and is pulling it slowly, as a result, the horse raises its tail and keeps jumping about, which can trigger muscle pain in the spine and stiffness in the upper part of the body. Last, treatment methods for these three ailments are given. For horse with muscle pain at the spine, for example, use bian stone and pierce at its buttock and tail area. Also, you make hot packs and rub the horse's back from neck to tail. One of the striking features of the Book of Treating Horses is the variety of treatment methods available. There are more than 10 recorded in this manuscript. Using medicinal substances, using hot packs, compress, bandages, administering drugs or water through the mouth or nose, blowing, such as blowing into both nostrils, bathing, massaging, piercing, bloodletting, and also using cauterization. As mentioned earlier, only 26 bamboo slips out of the 172 that constitute the Book of Treating Horses are intact, and therefore as many as 146 bamboo slips have been damaged. In the transcription prepared by Liu Changhua's team, various symbols have been inserted to indicate the lacunae. For example, here we have a missing character in the Chinese source, which is symbolized by a square. Or if there are several missing characters, a symbol with a forward slash in a square is added, as in this example. Here we have many gaps in the beginning of the script. However, we can tell that it is related to the horse having ulcers, which might be blocking its throat, tongue, and lower jaw, which make eating and drinking difficult. There are also numerous scattered slips whose exact original positions within the Book of Treating Horses have not been determined. No transcriptions are provided for bamboo slips 148 through 172, as the characters inscribed upon them are too difficult to decipher. Thus, the combination of numerous scattered slips and those with extensive missing and illegible characters within the Book of Treating Horses makes a complete interpretation and translation of the text unattainable. To conclude, horses were not indigenous to China. The ancient Chinese brought horses from the nomadic tribes who were living in the steppes and knew how to breed, train, and look after horses. Judging by the fact that the medical manuscripts found in the bottom chamber of tomb M3 belonged to someone likely to have been a physician or a medical official, it is plausible that some Qing and early Han physicians were trained to treat both humans and horses. One of the striking features of this manuscript is the variety of methods available for treating horses. However, the severe damage to the bamboo slips that make up this manuscript pose a major obstacle to comprehending its content and require a considerable degree of guesswork to reconstruct, decipher, and translate the text. Despite that, we are fortunate to have discovered an original manuscript composed 2,000 years ago the earliest known extant text devoted entirely to the treatment of horses in China. Thank you.